Hello friends, this is chapter number 3, complex number. In previous lectures, I had completed exercise 3.1, 3.2. If you click the I button of this video, you will get all my previous videos with the exercise 3.1 and 3.2. Now in this, we will learn the cube root of unity, properties of 1 omega omega square, all solved examples, and then lastly all examples from the exercise 3.3. Now let us start. First, cube root of unity आपण चालू करणार आहोत. The number 1 is often called unity. Let x be cube root of unity, that is 1. X cube is equals to 1, that is x cube minus 1 is equals to 0. Now using the formula. What is the formula? A cube minus b cube. A cube minus b cube means what? In first bracket a minus b, and in second bracket you will get a square plus ab plus b square. Okay. Now here 1 means what? 1 cube. Therefore in first bracket x minus 1 into second bracket x square plus x plus 1 is equals to 0. Therefore x minus 1 is equals to 0. X square plus x plus 1 is equals to 0. Therefore x is equals to 1, or x is equals to, now the factors, solve this quadratic equation by using the formula, that is x is equals to minus b. काय त्यासाठीचा formula? If ax square plus bx plus c is equals to 0, the quadratic equation असेल, then by using the formula x is equals to minus b plus or minus in root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. Okay, substitute the value of. Now the coefficient of a is 1, b is 1, c is 1. Minus b means what? Minus 1. Plus or minus in root of b square means what? 1 square. Minus 4 into 1 into 1 upon 2 into 1. Therefore x is equals to 1, or x is equals to minus 1 plus or minus. Here is a 1 minus 4 means what? Minus root 3. Okay, now again this minus root 3 can be written as in root of 3 into minus 1, that is in root of 3 I square, and then you will get root 3 r. Okay, therefore x is equals to 1, or x is equals to minus 1 plus or minus I root 3 upon 2. And hence the cube root of unity are एकदा काय देणार प्लस आणि एकदा मायनस. Cube root of unity are 1 minus 1 plus I root 3 upon 2 minus 1 minus I root 3 upon 2. These are the cube root of unity. Among the 3 cube root of unity, one is real, other 2 roots are complex conjugate of each other. Means what? If we square the first, which is the minus 1 plus I root 3 upon 2 bracket square, then you will get 1 by 4. This is the minus 1 plus I root 3. If we expand this, म्हणजे काय? Minus 1 square plus 2 times minus 1 into I root 3 plus I root 3 bracket square. Then here you will get 1, and their multiplication is a minus 2 I root 3. Next I square, and root 3 चा square किती आला तर 3. And overall you will get minus 3. And if we simplify, minus 1 minus 3 means what? You will get minus 2. Minus 2 I root 3, take 2 as a common. Then you will get minus 1 minus I root 3 upon 2. Okay. And hence the square of the first root, then you will get the second one. That is the minus 1 plus I root 3 bracket square. Okay. याचा जर स्क्वेअर केला तर तुम्हाला हा दुसरा कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर, दुसरं रूट त्या ठिकाणी आपल्याला मिळत असतं. Therefore we will express it like this: 1 minus 1 plus I root 3 bracket I root 3 upon 2. सेकंड किती असणार आहे? मायनस 1 प्लस आय रूट 3 अपॉन 2 ब्रॅकेट स्क्वेअर. इथे आपण मायनस साइन नाही घेत, तर याचाच स्क्वेअर करून लिहित असतो का की याला आपण काय ओमेगा कन्सिडर करत असतो. अँड नेक्स्ट दिस विल बी दी ओमेगा स्क्वेअर. लेट minus 1 plus I root 3 upon 2 is omega. Then minus 1 plus I root 3 upon 2 bracket square is omega square. And hence cube root of unity are 1 omega square. Okay, in this way. These are the cube root of unity. What are that? Omega, 1 omega and the omega square. Now the properties of 1 omega and omega square. Omega is the complex cube root of unity. Therefore, omega cube is equals to 1. This is the first one. Omega cube minus 1, that's equals to 0. पुढे इथे a cube minus b cube चा फॉर्म्युला वापरणार मगाशी आपण जो घेतलेला होता. Okay, in first bracket omega minus 1, in second bracket omega square plus omega plus 1 is equals to 0. Omega minus 1 is equals to 0 means what? Omega is equals to 1. Omega square plus omega plus 1 is equals to 0. But omega is not equals to 1. Omega is not equals to 1 and therefore omega square plus omega plus 1 is equals to 0. Okay. Next, omega square is equals to 1 upon omega. दोघांचा product केला तर omega cube is equals to 1 or 1 upon omega square is equals to omega. Omega cube is equals to 1. So, omega raised to 3n is equals to 1. Okay, तेच आपण कसं लिहिणार? Omega raised to 3n that is equals to 1 means what? You will get here omega raised to 3 raised to n. Omega raised to 3 means what? 1. 1 raised to n, you will get here 1. Okay. Next, omega raised to 4 is equals to omega cube into omega. But what about the omega cube? Omega cube is 1. 1 into omega, you will get here omega. Omega raised to 3n plus 1, then you will get omega. Omega raised to 5 can be written as omega square into omega cube. Omega cube is again 1 and therefore you will get omega square. And hence, omega raised to 3n plus 2 and that is equals to omega square. म्हणजे ओमेगा रेस टू 3n plus 1 असेल तर ओमेगा रेस टू 3n plus 2 असेल तर ओमेगा स्क्वेअर. ओमेगा बार इज इक्वल्स टू ओमेगा स्क्वेअर. ओमेगा बार स्क्वेअर इज इक्वल्स टू ओमेगा. दीज आर दी ह्या सर्व प्रॉपर्टीज आहेत. प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ 1 ओमेगा अँड ओमेगा स्क्वेअर. एवढाच टॉपिक्स यामध्ये इथे घेतलेला आहे. नाउ वी सी दी सॉल्ड एक्झाम्पल. If omega is a complex cube root of unity, then prove that 1 upon omega plus 1 upon omega square is equals to minus 1. हे आपल्याला प्रूव्ह करायचं. We know that omega cube is 1. Also omega square plus omega plus 1 is equals to 0. Then what you will get? Omega square plus 1 is equals to minus omega. Omega plus 1 is equals to minus omega square. आता हे सिम्प्लिफाय करणार आपण 1 upon omega plus 1 upon omega square. Okay. Now for the simplification, याच्या n and d ला ओमेगा ने मल्टिप्लाइड करणार. ओके, मल्टिप्लाइड बाय दिस हियर ओमेगा and multiplied by this omega. Omega into 1 you will get omega. Omega into omega, omega square. Omega upon omega square plus 1 upon omega square. You will get omega plus 1 upon omega square. But what is the 1 plus omega? 1 plus omega is a minus omega square. This omega square get cancelled. You will get here minus 1. And hence it is a proof. Very simple is it? Okay, next 1 plus omega square and bracket cube is equals to minus 1. Again, omega is a complex cube root of unity. Omega cube is 1 and also omega square plus omega plus 1 is equals to 0. Omega square plus 1 is equals to minus omega. By the 1 plus omega square, याची value किती? तो minus omega bracket raised to 3. And that is equals to minus omega raised to 3. But what about the omega raised to 3 is 1. And that is a minus 1. Okay. And here it's 1 plus omega square bracket raised to 3 and that is equals to minus 1. Next example. 1 minus omega plus omega square bracket raised to 3 that is equals to minus 8. Given omega is a complex cube root of unity. Omega cube is 1. Also, omega square plus omega plus 1 is equals to 0. Omega square plus 1 is equals to minus omega. Yeah, quantities of an image. Now see this here. 1 minus omega plus omega square bracket raised to 3. आता इथे value substitute करणार 1 plus omega square and minus omega आपण इथे लिहिला. But what is the value of 1 plus omega square? 1 plus omega square is a minus omega. पुन्हा हे इथे हा किती आला तर मायनस ओमेगा आणि मायनस ओमेगा. Minus omega minus omega, you will get minus 2 times omega and bracket raised to 3. The minus 2 times omega bracket raised to 3 means what? Minus 8 omega raised to 3. But what is omega raised to 3? Is 1. Therefore, minus 8 into 1, then you will get minus 8. And hence the answer. What is the answer? 1 minus omega plus omega square bracket raised to 3 is equals to minus 8. Okay. Next example बघा. If omega is a complex cube root of unity, then show that. In bracket 1 minus omega into 1 minus omega square into 1 minus omega raised to 4 into 1 minus omega raised to 5, and that's equals to 9. 1 minus omega square, 1 minus omega raised to 4, 1 minus omega raised to 5. First 1 minus omega square, 1 minus omega raised to 4 can be written as omega cube into omega. Omega raised to 5 can be written as omega raised to 3 into omega square. Now what about the omega cube? Omega cube is 1. 1 into omega, you will get omega. Omega cube into omega square, you will get omega square. Okay. Now next, 1 minus omega इथे आहे आणि इथे 1 minus omega. 1 minus omega into 1 minus omega, 1 minus omega bracket square. 1 minus omega square into 1 minus omega square. तो किती होणार? तर bracket square. नेक्स्ट सिम्प्लिफिकेशन. हे दोघांचे स्क्वेअर आहेत म्हणजे काय, आपण दोन्ही एकाचा स्क्वेअर ब्रॅकेट मध्ये घेतो आणि त्या ब्रॅकेटचा स्क्वेअरचा ब्रॅकेट स्क्वेअर करतो. ओके. नाउ इन ब्रॅकेट वी विल टेक द प्रोडक्ट ऑफ 1 minus omega into 1 minus omega square. ब्रॅकेट मध्ये या दोघांचा प्रोडक्ट तयार होणार. The first is 1 into 1, you will get 1. 1 into minus omega square, you will get minus omega square. Minus omega into 1, you will get minus omega. Minus omega into minus omega square, you get minus omega cube. Now what about the omega cube? Omega cube म्हणजे काय तर 1. या दोघांतून पुन्हा आपण मायनस साइन कॉमन काढणार. That is a minus in bracket omega square plus omega. But what is the value of omega square plus omega? That is a minus 1. By using the omega square plus omega plus 1 is equal to 0. या रिझल्ट वर. ओके. आपल्याला ओमेगा स्क्वेअर प्लस ओमेगाची व्हॅल्यू मिळाली तिथं minus 1. That is 1 minus in bracket minus 1 plus 1 bracket square. Means what? You will get 1 plus 1 plus 1. That is a 3 raised to 2. 3 raised to 2 means what? 9. And hence the result. What is that result? That is in bracket 1 minus omega square into 1 minus omega raised to 4 into 1 minus omega raised to 5. And that's equals to 9. Okay. Now the next. 1 plus omega raised to n plus omega raised to 2n is equals to 3 if n is a multiple of 3. 1 plus omega raised to n plus omega raised to 2n, that is equals to 0 if n is not multiple of 3, where n belongs to set of natural number. If n is a multiple of 3, then n is equals to 3k, and if n is not multiple of 3, then n is equals to 3k plus 1 or n is equals to 3k plus 2, where k belongs to set of natural number. इथे दोन कंडिशन्स आपण कन्सिडर करणार. What is that? n is a multiple of 3. Means what? n कोणकोणते नंबर्स असतील? 3, 6, 9 या प्रकार. And not multiple of 3 म्हणजे कोणकोणते? That is a 4, 5. Okay. These are the not multiple of the 5. 4, 5, next 7, 8, yeah. In first case, if n is a multiple of the 3, then what will happen? Then 1 plus omega raised to n plus omega raised to 2n can be written as n is equals to किती टाकायचे? 3k. n is equals to 3k. Okay. 3 into 2. Then you can write it like this. First is 1. Omega raised to 3k means what? Omega cube bracket is to k. Omega raised to 2 into 3k means what? Omega raised to 3 and bracket is to 2k. Omega cube is 1. Omega cube is 1. That is 1 plus 1 raised to k is 1 plus 1 raised to 2k is 1. But 1 plus 1 plus 1. Then you will get 3. And hence the 1 plus omega raised to n plus omega raised to 2n, that's equals to 3 if n is a multiple of 3. Next, that is n is not multiple of 3 means what? The value of n is equals to 3k plus 1 or n is equals to 3k plus 2 या प्रकारे. फॉर एक्झाम्पल आपण इथे काय कन्सिडर करणार आहोत? n is equals to first 3k plus 1. ओके, आपल्याला दिलेलं एक्सप्रेशन काय? 1 plus omega raised to n plus omega raised to 2n. मग n is replaced by 3k plus 1. First is n is replaced by 3k plus 1. Omega square bracket raised to n. Again n is replaced by 3k plus 1. आणि हे सिम्प्लिफाय करणार. फर्स्ट 1 as it is. ओमेगा रेस टू इथे काय येणार? ओमेगा रेस टू 3 ब्रॅकेट रेस टू k हा टर्म बघा इथे. ओमेगा रेस टू what is that? 3k plus 1 can be written as omega raised to 3k into omega. Okay. Next, omega raised to here 3 and whole bracket raised to k into omega. The value is 1. 1 raised to k into 1 and that is equals to omega. म्हणजेच याचा आन्सर काय मिळाला आपल्याला? ओमेगा रेस टू 3 is 1, 1 raised to k is 1, 1 into omega, you will get here omega raised to, next omega raised to, here the 2n means what? n is replaced by 3k, where n is replaced by 3k plus 1. आता पुन्हा हे सिम्प्लिफिकेशन करताना what is that? First I will write here omega raised to omega 2 and whole bracket is to 3k plus 1. तर हे कसं लिहिणार? Now we can write it like this. First upon omega square bracket is to 3k, next omega square. Again omega raised to 3 bracket is to 2k into omega square. And here you will get 1 raised to 2k into omega square and that is equals to omega square. Okay. Omega raised to 3 means what? 1 raised to 2k into omega square. Overall you will get omega square. And hence you will get 1 plus omega square. But what is the value of this? The value of this is 0. 1 plus omega square's value is the 0. And hence 1 plus omega raised to n plus omega raised to 2n, and that's equals to 0 if n is not multiple of 3 and n belongs to set of natural number. And similarly we can do that when n is equals to 3k plus 2, we will also prove that 1 plus omega raised to n plus omega raised to 2n, that's equals to 0. Hence the result. Yeah. Okay. Now next we'll start the exercise. This is the last exercise from this chapter, and after this exercise there is a miscellaneous. Okay. Now exercise 3.3. First question: if omega is a complex cube root of unity, show that. First, in bracket 2 minus omega into in bracket 2 minus omega square is equals to 7. Okay. This is the question. Omega is a complex cube root of unity. Omega cube is 1 and 1 plus omega square is equals to 0. Okay, and these are the different values. Omega plus omega square is equals to minus omega. 1 plus omega is minus omega square. 1 plus omega square is equals to minus omega. Okay. तर यामध्ये इथे या दोघांचा प्रॉडक्ट करणार. 2 into 2 you will get 4. 2 into minus omega square, that is a minus 2 omega square, minus omega into 2 minus 2 omega, minus omega into minus omega square, then you will get omega cube. Okay. Now from these two terms take minus 2 as a common, then in bracket you will get omega square plus omega, and here is omega cube. But what is the value of omega cube? Omega cube is 1. Omega square plus omega, and that is equals to minus 1. Omega square plus omega, that is equals to, here is a minus 1. Okay, that is a 2 into minus 1 plus 1. 4 minus 2 in bracket minus 1, and their product is a plus 2. 4 plus 2, 6 plus 1, 7, and hence in bracket 2 minus omega into 2 minus omega square, that is equals to 7. This is the answer. Okay, now the next problem. 2 plus omega square bracket raised to 3 minus in bracket 1 minus 3 omega plus omega square bracket raised to 3 is equals to 65. Okay, this is the next. Omega plus omega square. The value of omega plus omega square, that is equals to minus 1. इथे दिलेलं आहे बघा. Omega plus omega square is equals to minus 1. हा 1 पलीकडे येणार, it will become minus 1. Omega plus omega square, that is a minus 1. Next, again 1 plus omega square. या 1 plus omega square ची value. 1 plus omega square, हा omega इकडे येणार, it will become minus omega. 1 plus omega square is minus omega. Okay. What is simplification? 2 minus 1 is 1, 1 raised to 3. Next is minus omega, minus 3 omega. You will get minus 4 omega bracket raised to 3. Okay. Now this is the minus. Minus 4 omega bracket raised to 3 means what? 64 omega raised to 3. This minus and minus will become plus. Omega raised to 3 is 1. That is 1 plus 64 into 1. Okay. Therefore, you will get 1 plus 64. That is equals to 65. And hence the answer. What is the answer? In bracket 2 plus omega square bracket is to 3 minus in bracket 1 minus 2 omega plus omega square bracket is to 3 is equals to 65. फक्त इथे व्हॅल्यू सबस्टिट्यूट करतो आपण. पहिल्या ह्याच्यात काय तर ओमेगा प्लस ओमेगा स्क्वेअर ची व्हॅल्यू 1. दुसऱ्या ह्याच्यात 1 प्लस ओमेगा स्क्वेअर इज मायनस ओमेगा and last omega cube is 1. Okay. Now the next A plus B omega plus C omega square upon C A omega plus B omega square, that is equals to omega. हे आपल्याला प्रूव्ह करायचं. See this here, A plus B omega plus C omega square upon C A omega plus B omega square. न्यूमरेटर मधनं आपण ओमेगा स्क्वेअर जर कॉमन काढला, then what you will get? या A जवळ ओमेगा स्क्वेअर द्यायला आहे का? नाही. Therefore we write here A upon omega square. B जवळ ओमेगा स्क्वेअर आहे का? नाही, फक्त ओमेगा आहे. त्याला पुन्हा एक ओमेगा लागणार आहे. Therefore we write here B upon omega. And what about the C? C जवळ ओमेगा स्क्वेअर द्यायला आहे, त्यामुळे त्याला काही ऍडजस्टमेंट करायची गरज नाही. Therefore write plus C as it is. And from the denominator, see this here. C plus A omega plus B omega square, keep it as it is. आता पुन्हा न्यूमरेटर्स आपण इथे बघणार. जर आपण इथे डिनोमिनेटरला जर टर्म बघितलं तर ते किती आहे तर A ओमेगा आहे आणि आपल्याला न्यूमरेटरला पण A ओमेगाच पाहिजे. Therefore for the first term, what is that? A upon omega square. A upon omega square च्या न्यूमरेटरला आपण ओमेगाने मल्टिप्लाय करणार. Then you will get A omega upon omega raised to 3. Therefore A omega upon omega raised to 3. आता डिनोमिनेटरला काय तर B ओमेगा स्क्वेअर आणि न्यूमरेटरला काय B अपॉन ओमेगा आहे. म्हणून आपण B अपॉन ओमेगाला पुन्हा न्यूमरेटरला ओमेगाने मल्टिप्लाय करणार and therefore you will get B omega upon omega square and lastly plus C as it is. But again, what is the value of omega raised to 3 is 1. Omega raised to 3 is 1. Therefore A omega plus B omega square plus C. न्यूमरेटरला कसं टर्म मिळेल आपल्याला? Substitute the value of omega cube is equals to 1 in the numerator. Therefore you will get A omega plus B omega square plus C. Now in the numerator you have the term in bracket like this: A omega plus B omega square plus C. C plus A omega plus B omega square. These two brackets are same and that get cancelled. And hence you are getting omega square and hence it is a proof. Okay. पुन्हा तुम्ही इथे बघू शकताय न्यूमरेटर्स फार इम्पॉर्टंट आहे. यामध्ये पहिल्यांदा ओमेगा स्क्वेअर कॉमन काढायचा आणि नंतर मग डिनोमिनेटर सारखा न्यूमरेटर तयार करायचा. म्हणजे काय तर A ओमेगा B ओमेगा स्क्वेअर आणि C. त्यासाठी A अपॉन ओमेगा स्क्वेअरला ओमेगाने मल्टिप्लाय करणार, B अपॉन ओमेगाला देखील ओमेगाने मल्टिप्लाय करणार, ओमेगा क्यूबची व्हॅल्यू 1 सबस्टिट्यूट करणार and then you will get the answer. Now the next question number 2. If omega is a complex cube root of unity, then find the value of omega plus 1 upon omega. Okay. Since omega is the complex cube root of unity, omega cube is 1. 1 plus omega square is equals to 0. ये नेहमीचे standard results. Okay, हे देखिए 1 plus omega is equals to minus omega square. 1 plus omega square is equals to minus omega. Omega plus omega square is equals to minus 1. आता हे सिम्प्लिफाय करणार जे आपल्याला दिले ते omega plus 1 upon omega. Omega into omega, you will get omega square plus 1 upon omega. But what is the value of omega square plus 1? Omega square plus 1 is a minus omega. And therefore we replace omega square plus 1 by minus omega. Then omega get cancelled and you are getting minus 1. And hence the answer omega plus 1 upon omega, that is equals to minus 1. Next, if omega is the complex cube root of unity, then find the values of omega square plus omega cube plus omega raised to 4. Okay. मग या तिघातनं काय कॉमन काढणार तर ओमेगा स्क्वेअर आपण कॉमन काढलं. Then in bracket you will get 1 plus omega square. But the value of this is 0 and 0 into omega square, you are getting the 0. And hence omega square plus omega cube plus omega raised to 4, and that's equals to 0. Okay. Now the next question. Again the omega is a complex cube root of unity. And find the value of 1 plus omega square bracket raised to 3. आता पुन्हा 1 plus omega square. याची व्हॅल्यू किती येणार 1 plus omega square is equals to minus omega. Therefore 1 plus omega square is replaced by minus omega bracket raised to 3. Means what you will get minus omega raised to 3. But what is the value of omega raised to 3? It is 1. Hence it is a minus 1. And therefore 1 plus omega square bracket raised to 3 is equals to minus 1. Okay. Thereafter, next question. If again the omega is a complex cube root of unity, then we should find the value of in bracket 1 minus omega square bracket raised to 3 plus in bracket 1 minus omega plus omega square bracket raised to 3. Okay. पुन्हा तो question आपण इथे जसं तसेगा. From these two terms we will take the minus sign as a common. Therefore in first bracket you will get in square bracket 1 minus in bracket omega plus omega square bracket raised to 3. Next, second bracket मध्ये आपण कसं लिहिणार 1 plus omega square, that is 1 plus omega square and minus omega in this place here. तो इथे लिहिणार आपण whole bracket raised to 3. पुन्हा आता omega plus omega square ची व्हॅल्यू किती तर minus 1. 1 plus omega square is minus 1 and therefore 1 minus in bracket minus 1 bracket raised to 3. That is minus and minus, that will become plus. 1 plus 1 आपल्याला किती मिळेल तर 2 मिळेल तिथे 2 raised to 3. पुढे बघा 1 plus omega square is a minus omega minus omega, you will get minus 2 times omega bracket raised to 3 and hence you will get minus 8 omega raised to 3. But again what is omega cube? Omega cube is 1. 8 into 1, that will become 8. 8 minus 8 and overall you will get 0. And hence the result. What is the result? In bracket 1 minus omega square bracket raised to 3 plus in bracket 1 minus omega plus omega square bracket raised to 3, and that's equals to 0. Now the next question. If omega is the complex cube root of unity, then find the value of in bracket 1 plus omega into 1 plus omega square into 1 plus omega raised to 4 into 1 plus omega raised to 8. Okay, keep the first bracket as it is. Second is also as it is 1 plus omega square. But what about the omega raised to 4? Omega raised to 4 can be written as omega raised to 4 means what? Omega cube into omega. But what is omega cube is 1. 1 into omega, you will get omega. And hence, omega raised to 4 is written as only omega. Next, omega raised to 8. Omega raised to 8 can be written as omega raised to 6 into omega square. Omega raised to 6 is omega cube bracket square. But omega cube is 1. 1 square is 1. 1 into omega square. Overall, you will get omega square. And hence, omega raised to 8 is a omega square. आता इथे काय? The brackets जवळ आणणार 1 plus omega into 1 plus omega. That is, you will get 1 plus omega bracket square. 1 plus omega bracket square, 1 plus omega square आणि 1 plus omega square हे दोन्ही जवळ आणले. That will become 1 plus omega square bracket square. Okay. Now the next 1 plus omega म्हणजे काय? By using this result 1 plus omega square. 1 plus omega means what? Minus omega square. And 1 plus omega square means what? Minus omega. 1 plus omega square is a minus omega. आणि आता हे इव्हॅल्युएट करणार. तर हे minus omega square bracket square means what? Omega raised to 4. Next, minus omega bracket square means what? Omega raised to 2. And this is nothing but the omega raised to किती मिळणार ते आपल्याला? Omega raised to 6. And omega raised to 6 can be written as omega cube and it's a bracket square. That is 1 raised to 2. And then you will get the 1. Okay, this is the answer. Now, next. If alpha and beta are the complex cube root of unity, then show that alpha square plus beta square plus alpha into beta is equals to 0. Alpha and beta are the complex cube root of unity. Alpha is equals to minus 1 plus I root 3 upon 2. And beta is minus 1 minus I root 3 upon 2. Okay. Now their sum. या दोघांचा असं sum जर केला, then what you will get? I root 3 plus minus get cancel. Minus 1 minus 2 upon 2. Then you will get minus 1. This is the value of alpha plus beta. What about the alpha into beta? That is in bracket minus 1 plus I root 3 upon 2. In another bracket minus 1 minus I root 3 upon 2. And 2 into 2 you will get here 4. A plus B, A minus B. Then you will get minus 1 bracket square minus I root 3 bracket square. Okay. I root 3 bracket square means what? I square. Root 3 चा square किती आला तर 3. I square is minus 1. Minus root 3. Minus 3. And this is minus. That will become plus. That is, you will get 1 plus 3 means what? 4. 4 upon 4. You will get here 1. And hence, alpha into beta, its a value is a 1. What is this? Simplification taken together. Okay, minus 1 square minus I root 3 bracket square. Means what? 1 minus I 3 into I square. I square is minus 1. If you simplify it, 1 plus 3, that is the 4 upon 4. This is 1. Therefore, alpha into beta, so value किती आली तर 1 आली. And what about the alpha plus beta is minus 1. And now we will substitute the value in this expression. Because we want to find out the value of alpha square plus beta square plus alpha into beta. तर या ठिकाणी इथे बघा. We express this alpha square plus beta square plus alpha into beta in terms of alpha plus beta, sum of the roots and the products of the roots. जर आपण हे expansion केलं, okay, alpha plus beta bracket square is expansion केलं, then you will get alpha square 2 times alpha into beta plus beta square minus alpha into beta. तर आपल्याला हे expression मिळतं. And hence, to find out the value, याची जर value find out करायची असेल, then we find out the value of sum of the roots, products of the roots. Sum of the roots is minus 1 bracket square. Product is 1. Minus 1 square means what? 1. 1 minus 1, you will get here 0. And hence the result, alpha square plus beta square plus alpha into beta, that's equals to 0. Okay. बघू शकता हे पुन्हा. सुरुवातीला अल्फा आणि बीटा कॉम्प्लेक्स क्यूब रूट ऑफ युनिटी, पहिल्याला आपण प्लस घेतो, दुसऱ्याला मायनस, and then find out the value of alpha plus beta, alpha into beta, substitute in this expression. This expression is important because we express alpha square plus beta square plus alpha into beta हे sum of the roots and products of the roots च्या भाषेत आपण लिहित असतो. And hence the result. Next, if x is equals to a plus b, y is equals to alpha a plus beta b, z is equals to a beta plus b alpha. Okay. Again I will repeat it. Z is equals to a beta plus b alpha, where alpha and beta are the complex cube root of unity. Then show that xyz is equals to a cube plus b cube. Now the solution. Alpha and beta are the complex cube root of unity. Alpha cube is 1 and 1 plus alpha square, that's equals to 0. Again, beta is equals to alpha square. Okay, because they are the conjugate of each other. म्हणून beta म्हणजे काय तर alpha square. Now x into y into z. मग x ची व्हॅल्यू काय तर a plus b. y ची व्हॅल्यू किती आहे तर alpha into a plus beta into b. z ची व्हॅल्यू किती आहे a beta plus b alpha. आणि हा प्रॉडक्ट तयार करायचा या ठिकाणी. ओके, तर प्रॉडक्ट मध्ये काय that is first is a alpha a, keep it as it is. The value of beta means what alpha square b. Again a into beta. Beta is alpha square b alpha. म्हणजे सर्व एक्सप्रेशन आपण अल्फा मध्ये इथे केलेलं आहे. ओके, नाउ फ्रॉम the first bracket we are taking the alpha common and from the second bracket we are taking the alpha common. या पहिल्या ब्रॅकेट मध्ये आपण अल्फा कॉमन घेतलेलं इथे. ओके, सेकंड ब्रॅकेट मध्ये अल्फा इंटू अल्फा, हियर इज अल्फा स्क्वेअर. इथे ना ए प्लस बी ऍज इट इज इथे घेतलेलं आहे. यातनं अल्फा कॉमन गेल्यानंतर काय राहणार ए प्लस अल्फा बी. यातनं अल्फा कॉमन गेल्यानंतर ए अल्फा प्लस बी. ओके, नाउ हियर इज अल्फा स्क्वेअर ए प्लस बी. ओके, नाउ दी नेक्स्ट हा प्रॉडक्ट तयार करणार या दोघांचा. What is the first? A into A alpha means what you will get A square alpha. A into B means what AB. Alpha B into A alpha means you will get alpha square AB. AB alpha square. Alpha B into B means what B square alpha. Okay, this is. Now the next. पुढे बघा इथे alpha square is as it is. पुढचं product. What is the product? या a ने सर्व ब्रॅकेटला इथे आपण मल्टिप्लाय करतो. दॅट इज a into alpha a square alpha means what you will get a cube alpha. A into ab you will get a square b. A into ab alpha square you will get a square b alpha square. A into b square alpha means what ab square alpha. This is the first one. हा पहिला पार्ट इथे झाला when we multiplied with the a. Next we will multiply with b. That is a b into a square alpha. You will get a square b alpha. This is the a square b alpha. B into ab means what? You will get ab square. This b into ab alpha square, that is a b square alpha. A b square alpha. This b into b square alpha means what? B cube alpha. Okay. Now again here, see this here. Throughout this term, first we will collect the terms of a cube alpha and b cube alpha. Okay. A cube alpha plus b cube alpha. Next, कुठल्या terms आपण collect करणार? That is a square b. Okay. This is the first a square b. Next, a square b alpha square. Okay, and the next is a square b alpha. Okay, a square b alpha. हे तिन्ही टर्म्स इथे आपण घेतलेले आहे. A square b alpha square, a square b alpha. This is the next bracket. And the remaining all the terms. म्हणजे कुठल्या त्या टर्म्स असणार आहेत? ab square. ab square, this is the another thing. This is the ab square alpha, ab square alpha square. या सर्व terms ab square alpha and ab square alpha square. Okay, now from the first two terms we are taking the alpha common. From the second bracket, take the common a square b. From the third bracket, we will take the common ab square. If you take the a square b common from the second bracket, then in bracket you will get 1 plus alpha square. Okay. आणि यातनं देखील आपण AB square जर common घेतला, then in bracket you will get 1 plus alpha square. But what is the value of this? Is a 0. This is also 0. Okay. And the whole terms will become 0. हे दोन्ही काय होतील तरी ते 0 तयार होतील. Okay. And therefore you will get here alpha into in bracket a cube plus b cube into alpha square. Alpha cube into alpha means what? Alpha square into alpha, you will get here alpha cube, and in bracket a cube plus b cube. But what is a alpha cube? Alpha cube is 1, and hence the answer is a cube plus b cube, and therefore x into y into z, x into y into z, that is equals to a cube plus b cube, and hence the result. थोडंसं product तयार करण्यामध्ये तुम्हाला तिथे वेळ लागू शकतो, because it is a product of 3 brackets. Now the next, if omega is a complex cube root of unity, then prove that 1 minus omega plus omega square bracket raised to 3 is equals to minus 8. पुन्हा नेहमीच्या त्या व्हॅल्यू omega cube is 1, omega square plus omega plus 1, that is equals to 0. Now we'll see the expression 1 minus omega plus omega square bracket raised to 3. मग या ठिकाणी काय तर 1 plus omega square इथे जवळ आणणार. The value of 1 plus omega square. 1 plus omega square is a minus omega. Okay, therefore this is replaced by 1 plus omega square is replaced by minus omega, minus omega. Minus omega as it is here. Minus 2 times omega. Minus 2 times omega bracket raised to 3 means what? Minus 8 omega raised to 3. But again omega raised to 3 is 1. Minus 8 into 1, you will get minus 8. And hence 1 minus omega plus omega square bracket is 2 3 is equals to minus 8. Now the next, in first bracket a plus b plus a omega plus b omega square plus a omega square plus b omega, and that's equals to 0. Therefore in first bracket a plus b, second bracket a omega plus b omega square, in third bracket a omega square plus b omega, here is a plus b. Okay, a omega plus b omega square, a omega square plus b omega, and now collect here a plus a omega plus a omega square. This is the one. Next is a b omega square. आता यातनं काय कॉमन येईल तर a कॉमन येईल, and then in bracket you will get 1 plus omega square. What's its value? Its value is a 0. पुन्हा यातनं b कॉमन, then in bracket 1 plus omega square. Its value is a 0. A into 0 is 0, b into 0 is 0, and overall 0 plus 0, that's equals to 0, and hence the result. And in this way we have completed the exercise 3.3. Again I will inform you, if you click the I button, then you will get all the previous video. Now we'll see in the next video. Till then, goodbye.